wasn't recording, was it? Ay. Well, okay, so that... no reaction didn't matter anyways. So, Zenthone reporting in. So, finally watched the Rogue One trailer, or teaser trailer. And I haven't seen too much, like, before watching it, like, I've only seen, like, a few thumbnails showing, like, what looked like Dark Troopers, and, let's see, this cool picture of an AT-AT walker looking at some soldiers, and a visual of the movie's villain. Oh, and, female lead, and, well, the death, and a glimpse of the Death Star by accident. Now, okay, so, judging by the trailer, it's, well, okay, first off, what Rogue One to me right now, as of now, means this, that it's probably the kind... Okay, well, first off, we're actually finally gonna get to see what a standalone Star Wars film can do. Yes, like right now, Star Wars, the original Star Wars, Episode 4, New Hope, was originally, standalone, didn't have any sequels, and then eventually got popular enough that, hey, George, let's make a sequel. And we got Empire Strikes Back. But, even then, more or less, nowadays it still comes as a package deal with the next two to complete the trilogy. Rogue One, it doesn't need to be it doesn't need to be the beginning and then have a sequel. It doesn't need to, as far as we know. I mean, sure, they can still make references, of course, but that's not the point. Right now, Rogue One is a standalone film, as far as we know, and another female lead that hopefully, well, yeah. And, well, okay, something I'm gonna like about this is that it's the Civil War era. So, don't get me wrong, I like the new T-70s or whatever model the X-Wing fighters instead of Force Awakens are. But you can't forget about the classics with the 4 turbine engines instead of the one giant one, or instead of the two giant ones or whatever. So, yeah, and well, okay, and well, we'll get to see what some I don't know if this new villain is supposed to be supposed to be like a major contender, or if he would be comparable to someone that you would only know about in the novels and thus not in the movies, obviously. But so of course a little more. So you could say that, hey, we're going to get to expand the universe even more, which actually is the point of some of the anthology. But still, we're going to get more universal building. I say world building, but we know it's not going to be one planet. New female lead, which some people think may be Rey's mother, but I have no reason to think that, because people can look alike or not look alike and still be related, versus not. You get what I mean. So, I don't know what they're making on, but right now, I have no reason to think that theory. But judging by some of the dialogue that they talk about, and to her, is also something that you kind of get, something that you hear about a lot in certain films. The only ones that comes to mind is just a message that you keep on hearing in X-Men. In other words, you have, like in X-Men, they always say, okay, even though that they're mutants, what will they do with their powers? And will they go down a path of being a civilized person and try to help others, or would they go down a path that is, well, against others and only in for it themselves? Are you going to become the next Charles Xavier, or are you going to be Magneto? And that's what they're doing, and I think that's what this film will be, for the new lead to either, okay, like, for one thing, like, okay, she's like, like, she says that, like, there's, like, a talk about, on, like, where some of her, I don't know, warranted arrests lie or something, and she says, like, like, well, like, that's what you do, I rebelled. But, of course, there's a difference between, like, structured rebellion versus a rebelling for the sake of rebelling. Because, like, they were implying that, oh, hey, she's resisting the Empire. But, yeah, I got the impression that, like, there's, like, I mean, like, you could say, hey, let's take down the establishment, but there's a, like, I mean, okay, not to talk about terrorism, but, like, if you're gonna blow up a symbol of the government, is it because you hate them, or is it because you're gonna hate them and you just want them to burn and die, or do you want to rebuild and try to establish a better government? I mean, that's that's pretty much, like, that is the point of the rebellion in the classic trilogy. They're trying to they're trying to take down the Empire and reestablish the Republic. Now, what is she going to do about this? Does she want to reestablish the Republic, or does she just not care what happens, but wants the Empire to go down or something? I don't know. Does she even want Does she even want the Empire to be out of the picture? For that matter, I mean, like, for all we know, hey, she, like, I mean, there have been times in the lore where, well, not just Star Wars, but sometimes in others, where, like, oh, I couldn't care what happens, just as long as I'm free to do what I want. I mean, like, come on, in the Outer Rim territories, like, do the Hutts care about whether the Republic is around, or do they just care, or, like, do the Hutts care for example, do the Hutts in the Outer Rim territories care about whether the Empire, is reigning supreme, or whether it's a Republic in control? As long as they get what they want, or can do whatever they want, and do all the smuggling, pirating, and trades or whatever, the Hutts couldn't care less. So what about her? For all we know, yeah, she could just not care on what the Empire does, as long as she can do whatever she wants, or live happily, or whatever. And they show, of course, and at the end they show her in an Imperial flight suit. Just looking at the camera, or looking in the camera's direction at least. We don't know if we don't know. Now, and like I said, maybe that's what the point of this film is, and whether, like, if you have the means to do something, what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna, like, are you going to be going on one side or another? One path or another? Whether it's the right thing or not. I mean, like, and there have been Imperials people who were in the Old Republic, who stayed in the Empire when the Empire emerged, because not necessarily because they didn't have a choice, but because maybe some of them did agree with what the Empire did. So I'm actually liking what they're gonna do with Rogue One, and I can't wait to see it when it comes out in. Oh, I don't know when it comes out. Sometime in fall, I guess. If not December, but let's hope not December. Like, I want to say November. Oh, let's hope for November. I'm hoping that this will be a standalone film. And won't need a sequel because, like, and, well, let's just hope it's a good show. Well, those are my thoughts, and, and before I forget this comment, yeah, so we don't see her in the Imperial flight suit. We don't know if she's in disguise, or if that's she's joining Now, whoever's directing this, he or she does not need to outdo any of the films. Just try some, I just want, what I want, and what I'm pretty sure what we all want, is just that this film to be itself. Don't try to outdo. Don't try too hard to be on the same level as all the other Star Wars films. For most of you, that would be the original trilogy and Force Awakens. But for me, all of them. Don't try to be the same level. Just try to do it well. Try to do your own film that just so happens to be set in the Star Wars universe. Beyond that, all we can do is just wait. And maybe wait for more other trailers, but let's hope that they don't... But let's just hope that they don't spoil anything too big like they did with the Terminator 5 trailer and the Batman vs. Superman. Like, let's just hope that they just don't reveal much else, okay? Like if this is the only all we get, I'll be okay with that. But just don't spoil anything if there's anything to spoil. Beyond that, Zenphone reporting out.